grew up in the segregated South. I actually started speaking English at age 6. But my father, I used to hear him say, if you get a good education, you can get a good job. So he knew that education was important. In today's time, many of our children don't have computers at home. And low-income families don't have transportation to get to where the computers are. Kids who don't have access to computers after school will be left behind. My name is Estella Pryfrom. At age 71, I took my retirement savings to create a classroom to bring high-tech learning to communities in need. All right, let's get on board. Estella's Green Bus. Estella's Green Bus is a mobile learning center. Are you ready to get on the computer? We want to do what we can do to make things better for all adults as well. Okay, got it. I see the bus as being able to bridge that gap between technology and the life of it. 16 years old.
She helps me by having one-on-one attention, and if I don't get it, she'll help me with it. I look forward to it a lot.
How we're doing here, it's not just a bus. It's a movement. And we're going to go from neighborhood to neighborhood, keep making a difference.
Peace and blessings. I definitely want to welcome you all back for another great episode of Celebrity Interviewer. I said it, and this is the show, and you know, along with people that's making a difference in building the community. This woman goes back to beside me, dedicated over 50 years of her life into the educational system. She's a CNN hero. Award global recipient twice, recognized. She's just an awesome and extraordinary person, and she's also the founder of Estella's BrilliantBus.org. So you definitely want to go and visit that website after this interview. So we definitely like to welcome today Miss Estella Pryfrom, and I definitely want to salute you, Queen, and welcome you to the show and your achievements, everything you've been doing. Blessings.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you for having me on your show. And also, I'd like to thank Ronell for even bringing us together. Yes, so I wish you all the luck continual success with your show.
Thank
Before I say anything about this, I want to let you know that the video, the CNN video, as well as other videos that we didn't talk about that's not listed on my website, if you go on the World Wide Web under Estella's Brilliant Bus, a Classic Learning Center, or Estella Pryfrom, and you will see many of them, including the one that was showing today. And the essence of what you saw in the video, I'll explain a little bit later.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, and definitely shout out to Ronell Pacella for better yet known as Ron, the director. You know what I mean? For
Yes.
connecting us, because I would never probably had the pleasure in life to have had the pleasure to learn about your legacy and everything you've been doing, how you've been changing the world since you've been in this world. So that's just like amazing. Um, and I just want to get right into it. And first, I want to thank everyone that's watching, all of our audience, wherever you're watching from, whether it's Facebook, whether it's my YouTube page, being I Said It Management. If you haven't subscribed, please go do that. Or if you're working on watching from Urban Grind TV, we'd like to thank our friends at Urban Grind TV. They actually just received their 20th award for their TV network. They've been in business 21 years and have received 20 awards. That's amazing. So congratulations to them, and I appreciate their support. Now, Miss Pryfrom, if I may, growing up, a lot of people didn't grow up like how you grew up, if I may, if that's safe to say, with all due respect, that when you grew up, I read that basically your continue to move around because they wanted to help immigrants.
Yes. Migrant, we went from one place to another to work. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, and I'll give you a little bit of my story.
Yes, ma'am. Please, if you may. And first, where did you grow up at, and where are you from originally?
Well, first, I want to say to Mr. Isaidit, uh, thank you again for having me here. I don't know if many people in your area have heard of Belglade, but Belglade is a farming area where many migrant workers go to work because many of them are unskilled laborers. So they come to Belglade to work in produce. And Belglade is identified as the winter capital of the world. The soil is black, very rich, and all over the place they grow fresh vegetables, corn, string bean, all kinds of lettuces, greens, um, you name it, and bell peppers. They raise them out in the glades, and the grass grows green out there. You almost don't have to put any fertilization on it. So it's west, Belglade is west of Palm Beach County and saturated with a lot of great people, including the migrants. And there was a project out there that's called Okeechobee Center, which was a government project. It's still there. And when we lived in the project, everybody in the project was poor. And we traveled from Florida to New York to work. And that's how my dad had to put food on the table because all the work they did had to be on the farm. And when they harvest the crop in Florida, then they go elsewhere to harvest the crop. So that's really how we made it.
Okay, I mean that's pretty amazing. So as a child, did you ever like wanted to do children things like go and try to meet kids and play with friends outside of school and not have to because you always constantly moved around, so I imagine it was hard to make friends or keep friends, I should say.
Well, we had plenty of friends that lived in the project, and that travel up the road, so they speak. That's what they say to that, going up the road. Well, these camps had um, a lot of people that lived there up the road during the summer, and some of the contractors from other places other than Belgrade would come to and share the camps because they were so big. It's just that the housing was low standard, and they didn't have running water. But when we came back to Florida, we came back to the project, so we knew everybody in the project. We went to New York, other places. It didn't take us very long to get to know people because we all talked the same language. We were all poor people. We all had to work in the fields to be able to put food on the table. So that wasn't a big thing. As far as children are concerned, we had a lot of kids to play with. And the good thing about playing with other kids, we knew we had to listen to their parents and they had to listen to our parents. So everybody in the project sort of helped look out for everybody's children. So when people from various families had to work, they would sometimes alert a family or someone who was going to be home that day or that week, and they definitely would look out for the other children that was there. So we didn't know we was missing anything because that was a life for us, and that's the way it had been all our lives, as we grew up and grew through the phases.
Okay, okay. Definitely. Well, yeah, it definitely, made you extraordinary person. But still, even with that being said, not a lot of people, still, despite, you were used to that, maybe you wanted to, see another side of life, you know, what led for you to be inspired is to continue to, be charitable to people in your entire life and to get into teaching.
Well, I was, in every sense of the word, truly a village child. You've heard the expression, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the village helped raise all of us because the villages were very close knit people. We talked the same language. We ate pretty much the same kind of food because we were all poor. But as we grew up, we learned a lot how to share and how to be part of one big unit. We went to school in the project, a government school at the beginning. And in Palm Beach County, there was only one school for black students at the high school. And neighboring counties, if you were black, came to that same school. But we had some great teachers. We had great parent support. And we knew we better listen to the people at school and other parents as well. Um, we picked beans sometime after school from nearby bean fields. But one of the things that my daddy and a lot of the other contractors believed in, they believed in education. Now, one thing I like to say here is that when you work in the fields, usually, and you're traveling from one state to another to harvest produce, we had to go when the produce was ready. So most of the times we left school in May, early May, and we didn't come back until October. So I hear people say, those poor migrant kids get behind and it's hard to catch up. When you're living in that life, that pattern, for us, we didn't see that as a disadvantage. We just knew that if we came in late to a school, catching up was not an option. We knew that we had to work hard and catch up because we knew then that we was going to be leaving before school was out, and we had to work hard enough to earn our grade to the next grade. So it was a way of life for us. And when you don't know of any other lifestyle, then you find a way to enjoy that one. And we learned a lot from traveling because we were in that group of migrants that didn't go to town that often because there are some kids who just didn't get to town. We lived outside of the city limits and we didn't know what the town looked like. But as we traveled, we were able to go through other states, see how the terrain was different. We were able to enjoy the looking over the cliffs, the mountains and the valleys, and changing of the season of the trees. Because like in Florida, the trees are always green. So it was an incredible experience for us. We were able to see during the wintertime polar bears that came out, sometime walking in the woods. So we were able to see a lot of things and learn a lot. And one thing about my parents, they would seek information and they would tell us and explain to us when we were in a state or in a city or somewhere near a battleground. They would explain all those things to us. So we learned an awful lot, but we really did not regret anything that we were doing, working really hard. And one thing that my four sisters and I, but I actually had five, we learned how to share, we learned how to work together, and I think the lifestyle that we lived kind of helped me grow into be the person that I am today. Share and help look out for those who might be a little less fortunate than you are. So it was just a lifestyle for us.
Wow, I mean, it's just extraordinary, how such a humble life you have lived, what I mean, so consistently, what I mean. So just a just a big salute and just great appreciation because you are the American dream, definitely, of what the definition of humanity, of being humane, or what a person's supposed to be. This is how we supposed to be as people, how we supposed to act. And you've been doing this for I'm not trying to count your age, but you've been doing this for before I've been here, and that's extraordinary.
Well, I'm
And
not I'm not embarrassed by my age. I turned 84 in December, and I'm very thankful for being able to continue to move forward. I have a sound mind, I think. Physically, I can't do some of the things that I used to do, but we're working together and we will get it done. One thing that my father used to say to us is that you got to work hard, and if you want anything to happen, you got to make it happen because nothing will be handed to you on a silver platter. So we all knew that. All of my sisters learned to work very hard. And aside from sharing, there were other benefits from living up in the community that we lived in. When you look at sometimes, not all of them, but some of the kids today, they didn't learn how to do all the things that we had to learn how to do. When I was 8 years old, I could cook a whole meal based on what a meal was for us. And it may have been some meat, some rice, and some beans. That was a meal for us. And I knew how to cook those kind of meals without wasting, without burning it, because we knew that our parents couldn't afford to keep buying things over and over. So I learned how to wash, learn how to iron, cook, learn how to sew. And some kids during this time, they don't want to be bothered with those kind of things. But most of the kids during my age learn how to do all of those things. And those skills I passed down to my children because I saw the value in being able to do those things and be self-sufficient when it comes down to taking care of yourself and working hard to make your ends meet financially.
Okay, yes. That those are all definitely essential things that would help you to continue to have survival on this planet. But majority of those things you named, I do not know how to do that. And I'm not ashamed to say it, but I just don't. But I can say that I have some time and I can learn still. So
And work didn't stop then. We in our neighborhood there was a documentary that came out about the migrants. The title of that documentary is Harvest of Shame, put together by Edward R. Murrow. And what they said on that video in that documentary, that less than 30% of the kids from that neighborhood will not even get out of the neighborhood. And a lower percentage of those kids will ever go to college. And I'm proud to say that we didn't believe that. Well, there are a lot of people from the projects that we know of went on to college, a big percentage, more than 30%. And many of them end up with master's degrees, not only just a regular degree, but master's degrees and PhD degrees. And they don't forget those kind of things. And many of us come back to our community to give back. So we knew what we were missing, but we didn't know when we were missing it. And we knew the value of giving back to the community. And that is kind of the mindset that I had when I retired after 50 years, because I wanted to give back to the communities, the kinds of communities that I served as I was growing up as a child.
okay, now growing up during a child, so I just kind of do my a little bit of math. So going back to where, so you saying basically you were probably like in high school somewhere maybe around the 1940s. Is that safe to say?
I was 36. I was born in 1936, so you can do
Oh,
the math.
it-
In 46,
it-
I was 10. And
okay,
so,
right, okay. So during the civil rights movement, you were going to high school then.
yes. And we saw a lot of um, inequities and a whole lot of things, but it was a way of life during that time. We lived through um, a long period of segregation. We also was fortunate enough to go through integration, and now we're experiencing some of the things. At least we're seeing some of the same types of behavior way back when I was a kid. Separation of ethnic groups, inequities in many different ways. Um, but we pray that we someday and someday soon, as U.S. citizens, we can all get on the same page.
Yes, ma'am. That would be a blessing and a miracle. Um, yeah. So with that being said, I know that you've done many things. So I'm just gonna go to my notes real quick. Can you just talk about first before I ask you this next question? Just your special love for children that inspired you to decide you wanted to get into the teaching field.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the next person?
No, there's no next person. I'm sorry. There's only one.
Now, what was the question again? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's the question was um you know what led to to decide that you wanted to go down the road of teaching in the teaching field, that dedicate your life to help wisdom and giving back to children and kids, opposed to doing something else, nursing, being a lawyer, you know a policewoman, anything, why teaching? Why do you love children so much?
Well, first of all, uh, to stay in that project forever would have been failure. And we grew up, well, our dad made us think and feel that failure was not an option. We were not going to fail at anything. We just had to work at it. Now, one of the things, since I know I have a little bit more time, not only did we grow up caring a lot about each other, we were close knit family. And as we grew up to be teenagers, before we went off to college, for 4 kids, we slept in one bed. And we didn't fight all the time about that. We respected other people's space. So I'm saying we learned a lot from that. 2 at the foot of the bed and 2 at the head of the bed. And we knew that's what we had to do. At one point, we didn't have running water, so we learned how to be safe at home. When I learned how to cook, we had a kerosene stove. Some of these younger people don't even know what the kerosene is. But our parents worked in the field, and they didn't have cell phones and all of these ways to communicate with us. So we knew that we needed to be safe, learn safety early, and how to work independently but not excluding ourselves from what our parents did and the value of that, but learn how to work independently of our parents when they were working and follow directions and instruction on what we had to do. We had schedules that we had to make. So all of these things we learned a lot from. Okay, and we went to college. I worked sewing for a store in the cafeteria. And what we say, bootleg hair. I used to go down to the basement after I went to class during the day and worked. And then I would curl and straighten kids' hair because they didn't have very much money. And when I got out of college, here's the thing, the 50 years that I worked in the school district, and my husband beat me with the years. He worked 60 years before he retired. But during that time when we were working, we have carried hundreds of kids to live with us weekends, some of them during the summer, and we moved some kids in and they stayed a whole year. So it was the feeling pretty much. If there's something you could do to help another person, then you do it. And those kind of things were not going to break the bank because we would take kids home, and if they needed something, we bought it. And our pennies were pretty short. But we would take them home, we would feed them. Sometimes we would pay for kids' lunches. And just so you know, and you can look on my website and see some information about this. But even with this business, we travel across the country with 100 teenagers and 33 adults. We travel the Freedom Trail. We get them involved with technology. We take them places that they would not have seen, so they can understand their history and see some other parts of the world. COVID interfered this time, but as soon as everything get cleared, we'll be back on the road for 10 or 12 days with our 100 teenagers. And what people said to me, Estella, are you out of your mind? Getting on the road with that many teenagers? And my response to them is, no. And let me tell you this, we had very high expectations for those 2 students that goes on the trip with us. And these kids live up to the expectations that we have for them. They did all kinds of things like coding, app building, learning to fly drones, building robots. But the valuable part is we walk the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We go to all of these places where they had slaves, so we can see and understand our history. But we thoroughly enjoy those trips. And when we come back off that trip for 10 or 12 days, it wasn't like we were about to drop. We all thoroughly enjoyed ourselves on those trips and looking forward to going again another year. We've been 3 times successfully with those kids.
Okay. Yeah. People would definitely doubt you until you prove them wrong. That's just something that humans are just famous for. Just they have to see it to believe it. So beyond just your faith in the Most High and God, what helped you to just be able to envision something so great and so big and so brilliant being Estella's brilliant bus?
Well, when I got the idea, I was not thinking about being great or being brilliant. I was thinking about fulfilling a need of people in my community, people that look like me, people who I could identify with. All of my teaching experience was with Title I schools, and many migrants were included in those groups, and other uh, unskilled laborers, and I would say a lot of low-income families, because some of the schools had 98% of the kids on free and reduced lunch. So we know that there's something that the families can use. But I knew that we were in the age of technology, and that if when I retired, I wanted to be able to take something in the community to the community that they could benefit from. As I was growing up, my dad had no boys, and I was the only one of the 6 girls who were brave enough to learn how to drive the truck. So I learned how to drive a bus when I was a teenager. So little did I know at that time that I was being groomed to drive my own bus. Because during that time, blacks could not even ride in front of the bus. You had to go to the back of the bus and stand up, even though there might have been some seats in the front. So when I decided, hey, I better get out of here now, because if I'm going to do anything after I retire, then I need to get started on it. So I decided after Katrina went through New Orleans and devastated everything there, and all those people were in the gym. Not only that place, but I wish that there was something I could do. So I had thought about the project, but I said, I need to get what I've started out of the bag and move forward with putting it together. And in trying to decide, I didn't have very much money and didn't know where I was going to get any money from. So I had to come up with a no failure option. First of all, help bridge the digital divide. But what was I going to do it with? I had a van, and I said, now, out in the communities, the van won't be big enough because I have resources and they're just sitting up there serving 4 or 5 people. So I thought of a semi truck that I could convert the back part of it, the trailer part. And then I said, but I can't drive that thing, So I started doing some brainstorming, and I thought, well, I can drive a bus, and that would give me resources, space, where I can serve more kids in these communities. But now, knowing that I was going to have to figure out a way to get one bus, knowing that it was a new business, and knowing that I could not afford to pay someone to sit up and wait for people to come. So I created a program where I don't ever have to wait on anybody unless I choose to do that, because it's already pre-scheduled before we go. I know who's coming. I know how long they're going to be there because I participated in the scheduling. So the one bus that I started from the beginning had to fit the program that I had, not the program fit the bus.
Mm.
Swivel seats, adjustable seats, overhead storage, individual and group activities, and our own Wi-Fi. We travel with our own Wi-Fi. And I figured if I can make those things happen, I can do business. And I'm proud to say that we have served well over 1 million kids, and I have not charged them for any service in 5, 6 years. Not one penny have we charged them.
That is, hold on.
But we're still making it.
This is a standing ovation, man. This is
Yeah.
a standing ovation because that is extraordinary. Over 1 million kids, and you didn't charge nobody.
We haven't charged them 1 cent. Even on the trips when we go cross country, I find a way to pay for those trips using my card and pay for them when I get back home. Uh, we sold property that we had and took that money to invest in some of the projects we do. And I've been fortunate enough to get some donations from people who gave us awards. A lot of the awards that I had were financial donations, like when organizations give $10,000. Oprah matched all of the money. I ended up getting $75,000 from her, which was $50,000 more than all the other people across the nation got. Being Points of Life, top 10 in that, I was able to get a donation, got a CNN donation. We did a Super Bowl commercial. We got a donation for that. So with my pension, I still put money into the operation from my pension. But with my pension and donations, I'm able to continue to do the things that we want to do and not have to ask kids for money to operate or to provide these experiences.
That's I'm just speechless, and I'm a wordsmith. But that is extraordinary, ma'am. Just unheard of. You really, took control of the wheel and really, decided like, hey, I'm going to change the community. Some people say, they have many ideas. I have many ideas of how I feel like I can change the community, but you really took control, took your own money, took all your time and dedicated it directly to the children after already dedicated over 50 years into the educational school system. Like I said,
And when my husband uh, became a band director with the same types of kids, some of them didn't have money to buy tennis shoes or something to match or uniforms. So I took my time because I learned to sew. I made the first set of flags for the drill team, and I made uniforms. I made shirts for the whole band so they could look uniform. And then the momentum begun to grow. So then a farmer out there bought the band the first set of uniform that they had. But when it comes to the auxiliary, we still end up still making uniforms for them. So when they went out and performed, they didn't have to be embarrassed in terms of how they were going to appeal to the public compared to kids from other bands or other areas. They always looked nice. And I used to have people say, I'm coming to the football game early so I can see what the drill team or the auxiliary is wearing. So that was because I learned these skills, how to make those kind of things, to make them take a little bit of money and stretch it. So they look like $1 million, but I may only spend 10.
I heard that. I heard that. Making the most and how to stretch.
Yeah.
Now, I have a lot of beautiful pictures that I uploaded of some of these kids that have been a part of the extraordinary experience that you helped create. But first, I want to acknowledge we have comments. The first comments came in of the day, and it's all the way from Toronto, Canada. It's my friend Sapphire Steamy. Like I say, she's all the way in Toronto, and she says, "Peace and love, King, and Queen Estella." She says,
Thank
and she says, "Good work is God's work, and a way will always open up."
you. Yes. And my daughter tells me that one door closed, another one opens up.
Yes, ma'am. Always.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if I may, I want to take a look and show the audience some of these beautiful pictures, and you can comment if you like.
Okay.
So these are just some pictures, like I say, that I found on some of the social media. But you could just see the cheer, the joy in her face, to be able to just have that type of experience to, she just looked you know, like that's really, really enjoying, you could just tell.
These are wonderful kids, and a lot of not these kids, but a lot of the kids at school. That lady that's sitting in the chair, I taught her when I was in fifth grade when I first started working. She was just coming back to volunteer. But a
Wow.
lot of these kids um, were kids that we did things for. We taught them, and they came back and said, "Do you remember me?" They don't forget. They tell us about things that they've forgotten we done because we didn't do them for no reason other than to be helpful to the kid because there was something that we could do to help. But the little girl you saw there was another kid that lives in a mobile home park, and they were a part of the um, Microsoft um, videotaping that we had. And being migrants, they were migrants as well. And I looked everywhere for them to get them involved with the royalty from that video. And
Yes.
it took me 7 months to find where those kids had moved, but I finally found it.
Mm.
So they could get that little check.
Um, that's a sure. That's great. Great that you didn't give up. That even taking extra time just to make sure that people receive their blessings, extra blessings. That's nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's nice. Now, when you just mentioned Microsoft, is it true that you was also globally recognized by tech um, tech icon Bill Gates?
Well, I would see, if you look on the videos, you would see we have the Microsoft Super Bowl commercial.
Right.
There's two of them out there. Um, but Microsoft has been really, really, really good for me because number one, they travel my bus to ISTE event in Pennsylvania. Um, they replaced all of my computers twice. What the mission that I have. But not only did Microsoft do some great things, um, Office Depot gave me a lot of supplies and made sure that my bus was, and it still is, free from virus. So we never had to shut down because we had viruses going on that kept us protected. So a lot of things wasn't necessarily dollars in the hand, but services that you can't put a dollar with that help keep us going day by day, or I say week by week or year by year. We're very grateful to all of those people that supported us uh, to help Estella's being bus get to where it is today.
Well, definitely congratulations to all of that. And did you initially reach out to when you were building your bus and everything like that? Did you and your team reach out to Microsoft, or did they reach out to you?
Well, it's a really weird story in terms of how all of this. Uh, Sometimes when you do a good deed by someone, they don't forget you. If you do a bad one, they don't forget you.
Right.
Well, when I went back, well, number one, we had a lot of students that were very close to us before I retired the first time. Then after I retired the first time, I was talked into going back to work the second time. I met a guy who had a group of students that he trained to go around the school. He was the IT person. So because the school didn't have enough personnel to keep everybody up to where they need to be with their computers, he had a team of students that he would train to go around with him during their planning period or study period, or whenever they had some time. And because those kids were working so hard, I had taken a culinary job. And I would stay out there and I would make sure that those kids ate well because I would use the kids in my class to cook. And we would feed those kids that were working so hard. And when I got ready to go into doing my bus, I didn't know what I was doing. I said to him, I want to build a bus, and I want this to happen, and I want that to happen. So he coupled with another friend that was in my husband's band, who were also working at one of the high schools. And he said, Miss Pryfrom, we'll put that together. I didn't know names for different things. And I didn't have an idea how to do it. I just said, well, I wanted this to happen. And I wanted this to happen. And they were able to put what I wanted to happen, set it up on that bus. And then kids said to me, Miss Pryfrom, how you stay up all the time? I don't know how I stay up all the time. And I didn't tell anybody particularly what to do. I said, I want it to work, and this is what I want you to do. And they were smart enough to take the ideas and listen to what I said I wanted to happen and set it up on that bus to make it happen, and it still happens.
Boss. And definitely a professional with directing. Obviously, for someone to have, for something to come together correctly, you have to have good direction, for even it to translate to good instructions. So, so you did a great job, you built the empire and you built something that's gonna stand forever. This you built something that's takes someone us to the next generation, and it aligns into the technology that we're in this day of age. So that's really great. I want to show a couple of more pictures because earlier you mentioned the super woman being Oprah. She has been such a great influence. I grew up personally. I watched every episode of the Oprah show growing up, me and my mom. You know what I'm saying? That was just something that we did together. We watched every episode. Every time Oprah was on, we watched Oprah. So can you tell me, woman, what that was like to be saluted by someone who is already considered like one of the best in her field and very highly respected?
Um, I cannot take credit for being good in advertising and doing very much of anything in marketing. Other people did it for me. And let me just kind of tell you why. From the old school, our parents used to say, you don't talk about yourself and things that you do because that's bragging. And people get tired of hearing people brag about this, brag about that. But after I got into business, I came with the idea that failure was not an option, just like before I got into business. And that if you want to make anything happen, you got to really make it happen yourself. And you got to plan and you got to work at it. So I brought all of that over to the business that I had. So I worked really hard at it, but didn't do too much in advertising. But what happened, somebody asked me one day, how would you like to be nominated for CNN? CNN, not me, no. But he sneaked around and he did it. But I think what happened before then, to really get all of this started, because I wasn't doing any advertising, I had someone at Palm Beach State College who was in business development, and I wanted to get some confirmation on whether I had my business set up okay, because I knew that at some point, if I stay in business, which I had intended to do, that I was going to have to do marketing and advertising. And she happened to tell a friend that I had this wonderful project and saying that Estella is so shy, she doesn't like to talk. and she just does not like promoting that much. She's just shy. And she didn't know that her friend's husband was a producer. So I guess he believed her. And then he sent an email to her to tell Estella a producer's going to be calling her to make an appointment. He didn't ask me if I could. But in the meantime, someone from CNN had called me, and I said, no way would I be talking to a media. Go away. And after about 5 hours, that person went away, but they didn't go away to stay. So the MSNBC, who just happens to be the husband of that lady's friend, scheduled himself to come and see me. And after he promised me that if you don't like the recording, and I understand they don't show people these things, he says, we won't show it. So I said, okay. But when he did schedule, so I couldn't tell him no because he had already scheduled it. So when he came, I gained a different respect for the media, that it's not all negative. There's a positive side to all of this madness that people hear. And then the lady from CNN came back and said, you say you're so bad at doing this. I'm so good at this, so we can make a good team. So I'm going to come and I'm going to write your story. So she came back and wrote the story. Now, the one that you saw in the CNN videotape that had the small kids on the bus with the blue shirts on, those kids were only like 3.5, 4 years old, just learning how to get on the computers. And that's usually what we'll do. We'll go park right in the parking lot, bring the kids out, send them back, take another group. And to the kids, it's like a field trip on their campus. You know, kids would do anything to get out of class, a lot of them. But the part about what we do, we don't want them to just get out of class. We want it to be beneficial to them and to be worth their time of being out of class and worth our time for taking the time to go there to take them the programs and services. And at the time when we did that, then the other ones keep coming. There were the magazine articles, there are videos, there are podcasts, there's all kind of stuff out there. And I didn't advertise all that stuff. The people heard from someone else, and they came to me to say, we'd like to write your story, or we'd like to do this. And the media people and the producers that were involved so far were such wonderful people. I felt very comfortable with all of them, so I gained a different respect. Now, one thing that I like to say, about 2 years ago, Forbes magazine came out with an article, and it was talking about how since Estella's brilliant bus, tech buses, all kind of tech vehicles, vans, and cars, and everything popped up all over the world. But they're not working. A lot of the people say to them, they're not successful. They don't get the kids to come back. But I said to them, well, the difference is I don't have a tech bus. I have a learning center. We have a movement. And everybody who called me to talk to me about the project, I tell them this, but they're still not getting it because we don't teach kids keyboarding, for example. We teach them skills that they need to have to be able to learn to read, but we do it by using the computers. And we teach them exactly how to manipulate the data that they're trying. And by the time they do that, they have it. Because we don't compete with the school districts, and they teach on certain grade level keyboarding. So we really don't have to do that. But now, there have been times when we had someone who made that request, very few, then we honor that. And we have VPK preparation. We get kids ready for preschool, and many of them outscore the exit test as they're going in. We serve all the way up through 12th grade, college prep, classes for seniors, and beyond. So we're pretty comprehensive in what we do because when we look at one kid on our bus, we know that there are other siblings or family members from that neighborhood or from that community that need our help. And we are delighted to be able to serve them and help them in any way we can.
Congratulations. You have definitely served a purpose that it would take many of people many lifetimes to accomplish, and you've done it. You really did it, and it's just extraordinary how you have broke everything down and explained everything. It's just really great. Also, I want to ask you about, because I thought about this from something you said earlier, in reference to being part of, growing up during the civil rights movement. Now, how extraordinary is this, Miss Pryfrom, to be able to own a bus, a learning center for kids, and then you go back so many years and you have Rosa Parks, may she rest in peace, who couldn't even, what I mean, go to the front of the bus, and you own your own bus.
Now, I was in a situation in college during that time before Rosa Parks was arrested. Uh, and I wouldn't go to the back because there was one seat in the front. And my sister got on and went to the back, but I sat in the seat. And the driver tried to make me get up, but we had to put 10 cents in the slot where the money went, and I had put my dime in there before. The lady that got on the back got in the bus after me. And of course, she didn't look like me. And the driver asked me to get up and give her my seat. But ordinarily, I would have given her my seat because she was older. But he was not going to make me get up. And I had paid my 10 cents to ride that bus. And that was the only seat that was left. But what happened, they had been boycotting and doing little things in the city. And the college campus was involved. And the driver sat there 45 minutes. He didn't know what to do. So finally, being on our territory, he didn't know what to do, and he finally drove off with it. This was right after we started back riding the bus because we had stopped. And I think that's the only thing that saved me. But when I was growing up, I was a gadget person. And I would take things apart, and I would get a whipping for taking them apart. But when I got a chance, I put them back together. And my parents used to say, you broke this and you tore this up. But I always looked at how I did it and I put it back together. So I received a lot of whippings for taking things apart. But once I got the brilliant bus built, I can jump in the front seat, not the back seat, but ride anywhere I want to ride and don't have to worry about getting a whipping.
Smart, very smart. Learn really quickly, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We just had another comment just come in. I want to acknowledge. I'm not sure exactly where Mr. Dan Atherin is located, but he's better known as Slammin' Dan, the drummer, and he's actually a legendary drummer who started with Atlantic Star and was with New Edition and people with that nature. So shout out and salute to Dan, Slammin' Dan. He actually be back on the show later this month. Just also Miss Pryfrom, you've met so many people and things of that nature. Now, what led to you to decide that you wanted to write a book named "The Legacy of a Humble Black Woman"? And can you tell me, the inspiration behind that title?
When CNN got my attention to do their filming, the producer said, Miss Estella, you got to write a book. And I said, I don't have time. And I had a volunteer that used to ask me the same thing. Miss Estella, when you going to write your book? Miss Estella, when you going to write your book? And then all the other producers would come in and they would say, when are you going to write your book? Have you written a book yet? I said, no, I don't have time. And over a period of time, I had so many awards that was, I bring them in my house and I put them on the table. I lean it up against the wall. And this volunteer was volunteer every day. And he said, Miss Estella, when are you going to put these plaques up? I said, I don't know. I'll put them up. I said I'm happy to get them, but it doesn't influence my efforts because I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. And he said, Miss Estella, it's not about you. It's about your grandchildren. You need to write that book. So I decided I'll write the book. And then after Oprah, she decided to do the forward in my book. And I was inspired by that. And she wrote something about me, chose me out of the ladies across the nation. And the writer in her special section in the book, what I know for sure. So I was inspired to go ahead on and finish that book. But in writing it, I wanted to be something that my kids can look back and see themselves involved with it because I'm a family person. And I try to be as humble as I can in navigating through because I'm still within the stream of people that I grew up with. I know great-grandparents. I know the grandparents. I know the children, 2 or 3 generations. So I was in the system like 50 years, and you can learn a lot of people. And they were in communities of kids that some of them I went to school with. Many of them have passed on, but a few of them are still left. But I actually lived within the communities, all the 50 years in between, with different generations of people that I knew from my childhood up to great-grands that we see in school now.
Wow.
So you got to develop either a good rapport, some kind of rapport with them, or a bad one. I'm thankful that I had a great rapport with all of the generations.
Yeah, that's exceptional, truly exceptional, and it's just been a pleasure just listen to your story. I know your story. I've heard it. Like I say, I also had the pleasure of being interviewed on the same platform that one night on CB and the Boys. So shout out to Crystal Booker for that interview where we were all on there. So that was an awesome night that night. And yeah, it's just been crazy. But make sure you all go and visit Estella's Brilliant Bus again. Here's the website, estellasbrilliantbus.org. She's been doing extraordinary deeds on this planet for 84. Is that correct, ma'am? 84 years?
84, yes.
You've been just an extraordinary person for 84 years. That's just great, and I just want to continue to salute you and say thank you for, dedicating your life to humanity and for the sake of humanity and for the people and just to have an unparalleled heart, and spirit for people. Um, Now, when it comes to just your day-to-day motivation, and how do you stay mobile, and what is your day-to-day motivation at 84 years old?
Well, I heard someone say something one day. I was going upstairs and I was a little bit exhausted on the TV. And he sounded like he was talking to me. And as I went upstairs to enter into the room where the TV said, person on the TV said, if you enjoy what you do, you never worked a day in your life. So I loved what I was doing. So it seemed like I wasn't working any. It was a way of life, wasn't hard work. I handled stress very well. And I'm always looking for things that I could do because sometimes I feel like as much as I do, I haven't done enough. And we've added to our education and technology our food bank. So we have many people that we serve food in our food pantry. I only have 2 now. I did have 3. But we're making all these things come together. A lot of moving parts, but we know how to make them work together. I have partners all over the U.S. I've served children all across the country as well as abroad. So the song says, ain't no stopping us now. We're going to keep on going and keep on helping people as long as we're able to continue to do that.
Yes, ma'am. Ain't no stopping us now.
Ain't no stopping us now.
I want to second that. Now, I really appreciate your time. I don't want to take too much more of your time. You've been very generous with it. Now, can you speak a little bit about maybe because obviously, like you just said, ain't no stopping us now. You use music, a song, a famous song as a reference. And so is it safe to guess that, you have help that has been part of your motivation through the years as some of the black artists of today, what I mean, of yesterday, some old school music, that help preach us to keep going, don't stop, just keep on pushing and, things of that nature, keep giving us, jewels, through the music. Is that has been also a contribution? I mean, part of your influence, some of the music over the years?
um, I have, my husband is a musician and he was
Okay.
a percussionist, so he's a great drummer. I wanted to tell you that. But he's also a great instrumentalist. Um, but I love music, but two songs that I live by every day. And one is sung by Patti LaBelle. The title is When You've Been Blessed, Pass It On. And I can listen to that song all day long. But there's another song, and I don't know who the original author of that song is, but the title of that song is To God Be the Glory for the things He has done for me. How can I say thank you if I feel so undeserving sometimes? And that's sometimes the way I feel. But I get up every morning saying, To God be the glory. I'm getting up the next day, I'm energized to move on. And I go to bed at night, I said, To God be the glory for taking me through the day. So I'm pretty well set. I can't listen to anything else. I have two that I can listen to. However, I do love music, many different kinds, because my husband was a musician, jazz and all this other kind of music that he plays and he listened to. And his band was involved in playing, and we danced with the auxiliary team to the music. So I'm a music lover.
Okay, cool. I pinned the tell on the donkey with that one a little bit. Can you tell me, because again, you've been recognized many times for your efforts and everything that you've been doing over the years. I had found this picture. This was something to where you were recognized alongside of four other people. Can you speak about that?
That was the um, an honorary ceremony for Black achievers, African American achievers, and it was one among many given by a local person here. And I'm honored to know all of those people on that picture. Um, we all have something in common, and it was just a pleasure meeting those people because with all of the different places where I went to receive awards, there's always somebody in the groups that stand out to you that you make a lifetime connection with. So going from a very, very shy person to really loving to meet people is the kind of person that I turned into.
Mm.
Because I think they have something good to offer. And sometimes we talk, I get contact information, and I call them and I offer them everything that I have, uh, and say, now, what do you have something that we could benefit from, that my kids will benefit? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, let's talk about it, that's great as well. So I do a lot of sharing. I'm very collaborative with a lot of people across the world, and we're developing programs right now for future benefit of kids, not only just in our country, but abroad as well.
Okay. Great job. Um, I want to also again remind people, and can you just tell them again how they can purchase your novel, your book?
Okay. On my website, estellasbrilliantbus.org. My email is estella@brilliantbus.org. But on my website, I have a phone number, and I'm okay to give that number publicly, and that is 561-985-1889. And you could go on the website if you're interested in the book, but make sure you get the book that has the gold seal on it that says powered by Oprah Winfrey, because there was some scam with the other one out there that doesn't have it on there. Um, but there's a phone number and an address on my website. That number is my cell phone number, and I answer all of my calls on my phone because I'm devastated that somebody might make an appointment for me and don't tell me, and then I don't show up when I'm supposed to. So I keep my own cell phone, and I take my own messages. Now, I do have help to follow through with some of the things, but all they have to do is go to the website, either give me a phone call or send an email. It's on the website as well. Um, and of course, Facebook is always there. And sometimes when I get faith, even though I don't spend much time on the Facebook, when I get them sometime, I'll get a notification in my email and I'll open it and go in and read it. But I don't know when I go back on there again. But I'm going to try to do better with my Facebook emails and social media, as well as my other marketing as well.
Okay, thank you very much, and I look forward to ordering a copy of your book as well as support. Now we just recently.
Hardback cover, not the softback cover. The hardback cover is the real book. The other one with the softback cover is the one that which is a scam, which they wrote with the softback. And one of the reasons why I didn't go along with them because they changed the price on it, and I didn't agree with it.
Mm,
So
okay,
call me
so
directly and I'll send you an autograph one.
okay, great, absolutely, thank you so much. I'm gonna do that. Um, this was something else you were recently recognized for Martin Luther King Jr. Could you speak about this opportunity?
Yes, that was done by on that day celebration, and that was for community involvement. Um, so it wasn't just for the bus, but it's for the things that I do. Because I told you I have food pantries, and then I've had activities after school, during school, uh, very collaborative with other organizations. Palm Beach State College ended up being a partner. We have Office of Revitalization for Palm Beach County being a partner. So I'm able to help other organizations spread and promote their good things, as well as taking myself to these scenes. And they have been, all of them have been very generous in giving awards. Sororities, community organizations, churches, but I don't get uh, big-headed when I receive them. I just say thank you very much, and I keep on keeping on, so to speak, doing what I'm capable of doing while I can do these things and have a strong mind and physically can get around.
Mm, wow. Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everyone that's still tuned in with us, and who's been just rocking with us all night, for over an hour to be here with just an extraordinary person, being Miss Estella Pryfrom. You are definitely an angel in disguise. Let that be known. And like CNN says, you not only a hero, you are a community crusader. So you have really out here doing everything that it takes, and more. You've gone the extra mile. And I just want to again thank you on behalf of everyone, not only black people, our culture, but just thank you, is from everyone, the world, like the world owes you a thank you. And I'm glad that while you are still here on this earth, that Oprah recognize you, Bill Gates recognize you, and many other people that hold high profile people. You know what I mean? Because you deserve it all and more.
And
And
I want to say thank you to the MSNBC lady who wouldn't give up on me, in spite of the fact that I said I don't do this and I'm bad at it, but believed in me, believed in what I do, and kept coming back. So I'm thankful for all of those people out there who recognize the fact that together we can make a big difference.
that's right, absolutely. And if we can, I'll take a look at another picture of some of the kids that's posed in front of one of the Estella's brilliant buses.
We went to that school to do, it was a STEM school, and we went there to show them how the technology work, how our programs work. And the lady right here on the end we were just getting to know her. She's a soror, but she opted to go on one of those trips across country and was uh, invaluable in terms of her support and help. And I really didn't know her. I met her husband at a park, and she told me that her husband had a card in his pocket that he had picked up for me and hadn't said anything. And she discovered it and she got on the phone and she called me. But she's a wonderful person. But that was a STEM school, and one of the groups of children there at that school we were doing the tour for.
Oh, okay, great, great. It's a great deed and great work you've been doing. This is a few people that was posed in front of your bus, some young ladies.
Yeah, that picture, you may find a lot of people that posed in front of our bus. After Trayvon Martin incident down in Sanford, uh, we had um, we found out that a person that was involved with this after we got involved, thanks to Ronell. This person is close to me, but thanks to Ronell for introducing me to that person. And they were going to go on one of the trips with us, but we planned a local event because of the events are coming up, and we worked with them to get their police force and other community people back together as to a unit and not let the Trayvon Martin thing keep everybody divided forever. And these were some ladies that we met who wanted to take a picture in front of the bus. But I'll never forget the event.
Mm,
Wonderful. That was Demetrius Bradley. That was on the last call, the last group call when we talked about the one that you were telling me you were on.
yes, ma'am. Right.
Yeah.
CB and the boys.
Yes, yes. That was that.
Right. Well, hey, letting me know you have a tremendous memory as well to be able to just remember all of these people. I know you have your notes too, but to just continue to remember all these people that's made a difference in your life, though you have made a huge difference in so many countless people's lives. And again, you definitely just made a difference in my life from the time that I had a chance to learn about you and the night that I had the pleasure of being interviewed on the same platform as you. It's been extraordinary having the pleasure to look you up, listen to your story, directly from yourself. And I am grateful. And just thank you again, ma'am, and salute to you. And I want you to know you always have my support right here in I Said It Management. And if there's any way that I can be of helping, I would love to help you.
But Miss
And
Ashley, I wanted to tell you this that and say this to the public. We're in tune to helping kids grow uh, and improve educationally as well as technology in technology. So Anybody can go to my website and get my phone number because I share a lot of information with schools and a lot of organizations who work with kids who are behind, and we're still willing to do that. I have a home program that's called a Homebound. I work with thousands of kids that have never seen. Some I would probably never see, many of them, but we do extend our service to them, and we know how to work with people in other cities. We have a lot to offer.
Yes, ma'am. And right now, is this something that you all have thought about to where you could? So this is something that's virtual. So it's virtual learning, then, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay,
what we do with our Homebound, and we work with organizations who can continue to work with them when we're not connected in any kind of way, only using our programs.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Again, round of applause, man. Round of applause, Miss Pryfrom.
Yep.
You are this
Thank you.
extraordinary person, extraordinary talent. You are brilliant yourself to come up with the fellas brilliant bus. Let that be known. Um, but yeah, and just thank you again too. You know, I'm not a person that has spent a lot of time in the school system. Like, I'm not a college graduate, but I definitely respect people that have put a lot into school and use that as a platform to as to create a career in their lives. And I definitely have a highly respect for you for someone who has been a teacher because I have fond memories of great teachers in my life, people that were nice and told me that I could do it and things of that nature. So thank you for all the people and all the kids that you have continued to influence that turn to adults that turned into people that now have children that's going to be learning still from you, and that's amazing. You've been doing this for going on 60 years now.
And I know we are just about out of time, but one of the things we like to leave with all of the kids that we connect with, and that is we have on our t-shirts. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? A brilliant mind looking back at me. And it's not all in the book. It's a big portion of it is in the individual. College is not for everybody, but something is for everybody. You can be the best person you can be. So if you don't go to college, it doesn't make you any less talented or less important. Do good and do well with whatever you decide to do, and you can make a big difference. And I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm humble. And thank you. I look at you like like grandma. For I lost my last grandparent. My last grandparent passed in 2001, so I haven't had any grandparents in my life, and so I think that I've always kind of gravitated to people that was older than me because I look at them like this is my grandma, this is my granddad, that I had passed respectively. Shout out to all my grandparents that's not here anymore. But thank you so much.
If you're down this way sometime, maybe you can see the brilliant bus. I have two of them now. Okay. All right. So thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you and much love and much respect. And like I say, please, everyone, I urge you go and visit Estella's Brilliant Bus.org. She's doing some amazing things. There is a link to where you can purchase her book, Legacy of a Humble Black Woman. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, man. And I'll be in touch. And I'll see you whenever he start filming. I'm part of the cast too. So I look forward to seeing you in the movie.
For meeting you. And thank you so much, Mr. I said it, because I will keep saying it. You were terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Salute, man. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Congratulations. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you again for everyone that's tuned in with us still. Thank you for everyone that has shared this video. Please, again, share this video. I urge you. Thank you again to Miss Estella Pryfrom. She's just, you see, she's everything and more. She's just man, they don't even make words for who this woman is, you know. Like, how do you dedicate 84 years, like your whole life is just literally helping people, you know, and she hasn't missed a step. So, you know, God bless that woman. And thank you again for everyone that tuned in. I'll run through some of these pictures that we had showed. That's on one of her two buses. Just a fabulous, fabulous woman. Again, thank you everyone that tuned in tonight. I really appreciate it. Whether you're viewing from my YouTube, I Say the Mansion, make sure you please subscribe. Or even if you're watching this from Urban Grind TV on Facebook, really appreciate it. She's been recognized globally twice, being by Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey. That was actually the poster. I meant to show it earlier, where they this was back in 2013, where she was CNN Hero of the Year, one of 10 people. Now, again, like always, before we get out of here, I just want to share, you know, a few posters of some of my supporters and people that you know, you should know about. So just recently on the show, you know, make sure y'all stay tuned in to Soul and Blues Live TV. Come on every Wednesday. Again, shout out to my friend out there in LA. Just keep racking up awards. Keep doing your thing, Tracy Cruz. You're awesome. She just recently received Best Female Artist. Shout out to my brother Dean Moulton. If you need some photography work, you know what I mean, he's right here in Chicago, Chi-Town, and that's DMP Magazine. You know, everyone know him as Dean. Hit him up. Tell him I said it sent you. You know, I got to shout out my homegirl Phoenix out there, you know what I'm saying, in the ATL, Luxy Diamond Enterprises. You know, she does consulting work, media relations, entertainment, and she's the goddess of PR. Shout out to this clothing and aesthetics boutique that's located in Stockton, California. Appreciate your support, Queen. Shout out to She Bananas, the radio show, Kickback. Shout out Shakita. You know what I'm talking about? Peace, Queen. There's information with Mimi Mala. She out there in Tampa Bay, where she can help you anywhere you are located in the United States. She has an insurance company, and you know, definitely want to hit them up. She can help. Again, shout out to Ron, the director, better known as Ron Nail Pacello. You know what I'm talking about, with his Mad Music Tour. You know what I mean? He was the one that connected both me and Miss Pryfrom tonight. So really appreciate it. Thanks. You know, like always, you know, we can't forget about Hometown Urban Grind TV. and services. If you all need any services, make sure y'all hit them up. That's toll free 1-888-380-1913. You already know. Just mention my name. Let me see. Always. Shout out and big salute to Sapphire Steamy. You know what I mean? Queen of the Six, the one and only. And she also the brand ambassador for right here in Isaidit Management. So appreciate you, Queen. Make sure y'all pick up her new music. You know what I mean? She got a new album coming out too. But otherwise, go and get that Earth God and that Queendom. Pick it up. Yeah, so again, sorry, I don't have the next flyer for the next show, but my next scheduled interview is coming up, and the flyer will be dropping soon. So just stay tuned to my page. And again, thank you to Miss Pryfrom. That's just a beautiful picture, and that's just awesome that Oprah, recognized her. She so well deserved. So again, please share this video. We're about to go and get up out of here though. But first, you already know. Also, want to shout out my friend. Also, want to shout out a couple of people. Shout out to Gina Hills with lifeentertainment.com. Make sure y'all check that out. Lifeentertainment.com. You hear me? You know what I mean? She does actually conduct some great interviews down there in Tennessee. So make sure y'all stay tuned with everything that she do. You can find information on my page as well with that. And also shout out to Tamara Knighton. She's doing some really great things as well. You'll be hearing more from her. So on my page, let me see who else. There's always a lot of great people I can always. Mimi Legrand, you know me. Check out mimilegrand.com. You can actually find a little bit of information about me on her website about my interviews. Also, I want to shout out Elise Boswell with Just Me Magazine right here in Chicago. So appreciate you, Queen. Salute. Appreciate you. Much love. Let me see. Oh yeah, shout out to Bridget Wiley, publicist for the legendary Warriors. You can go to the famous. You can go to the Chicago Bridge magazine.com and you can see my bio there. A short bio on me if you want to learn a little bit more information. So again, thank you to everyone that was watching tonight. Thank you, most importantly, to our featured guest, celebrity interview, Miss Estella Pryfrom. And last but not least, this is her website. So we're about to go and get up out of here. Blessings. If anybody asks, I said it.